Welcome back. Today we're talking play actions in the Shanahan system, specifically talking about floods, different types of floods and how to get there. So the first one is going to be the classic post crosser, right? Most common thing we see in almost all these systems. I don't have a post on my install. Okay, I have what we call it at UNC and Ole Miss a storm route. A storm route is very simply, it's like a backyard route, right? Get vertically, you can win down the field. So you could double move in that 12 yards, you're either running a post or vertical. All of these clips, and in 99% of the world, you can see that guy locked in on a post, okay, which is perfectly fine. I'm just looking for something that's a little bit better against man, because we'll see in these clips, these plays are not great against man. But before I go any further, I'm talking about the post crosser, and then maybe something behind it, okay, a dig or something by the field number one. So what we see, if looking up top, right, play count, we have 78 of these tagged, and this is going to be in the whole Shanahan tree, right? So I'm talking about Lions. You will see Ole Miss clips on here because they're really good at this play. Those are not included in these numbers. So you're talking about Lions, Niners, yeah, maybe Green Bay, it might be in there, and then the Dolphins. So just looking at the numbers real quick, and then we'll look down more at the scheme, right? 78 is the play count, 12.1 yards of play, very good. Efficiency, so anything over 5 yards is efficient, 50 is very good. Explosion percentage, anything over 20 yards, right, you're at 40%, which is very, very high. And then a play score, 83, which means, right, a very, very, very explosive play. Because a normal pass in my little ChatGPT made up formula is about 50. Okay, so anything over 50 is a good throw. This is up at 83, which is about as high as you can get. So before we look more at the scheme, let's look over here at the routes, what was actually targeted. Okay, so pretty good distribution. CD meaning check down, so any sort of flat component. And then a scramble could also be a sack. So anything that wasn't in time is listed as that. So overall, you have a pretty good little distribution. And if you don't have a storm route on, so if you lock it on the post, any type of flood, okay, a flood very generically meaning something deep, something running out of bounds at 25 yards, and some sort of flat component. If you don't have a storm out on those plays, these are not good against man. You want them against zone, obviously, right? Because you're flooding the zone, right? We're going high to low. There's something deep, something running out of bounds at 25 yards, and then something in the flat. If you did not have the storm out, I would knock all these coverage grades over here down to the right. I'll explain real quick. I've gone in them in the past, but so I won't spend a ton of time. I use a 1 through 4 grading scale, okay? And this is all put in Excel, and that's how I would game plan. 1 being premier, so think double post in the quarters, right? Like old school quarters, that's a premier play. 4 being really bad, like we're in a bad situation. Think curl flat into cover 2, right? We're running into leverage. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 meaning we have a slight advantage, 3 being neutral. Okay, so that's the easiest way to think about it, and that's how I would game plan. So if you didn't have a storm route on these plays, if you had a locked in 12-yard post, I would knock down the man-free grades to a 3, right? Because you have no advantage. There's going to be one route you're throwing to basically in man-free, and that's to be the high cross. And then against all zones, we really like this play. Okay, we're in a good situation against any sort of zone. And then 5 and 5-man being covered 2-man variations. So obviously you don't want to run those into 2-man. So before I go any further, look at the scheme real quick. A storm route, any sort of double move vertical or a post, set the angle by 12 yards. This video is not going to be about those, so I'm not going to go into huge detail about those. But it's going to be, if you're running the post, right, 12-yard post, don't cross the hash. The high cross, I would tell them to stem to the middle of the field at 12 yards. At 12 yards, we're crossing the field with an angle to run out of bounds at 25 yards. And then either through the tight end or through the other receiver or through the running back, you're creating the flat component. QB-wise, it's really simple. You're going high-low, right? So I'm going deep ball to the thing running out of bounds at 25 yards. I keep saying that because I'm going to go into like the same side floods here in a little bit. And then a flat component. Okay, so for all the floods, we're thinking the same thing. We like against zone. We do not like against man. So if you have a check system, a kill system, that is the overall thinking, okay? And all these plays, I will show you as the other videos, the older videos, these are now updated, right? How they look against each of these coverages to the right and where it plays out. So we get into the video. Once again, Ole Miss the plays from Ole Miss are not included in the numbers because it throws it off. These guys are very, very good at the deep floods. Now, I do not know the mechanisms of play calling because 80% of these things were thrown against zone. Okay, so I don't know if they have a check system, if they have a look with me system. I don't know how they're calling it, but they're getting them against zone coverages. Ironic, because this clip is against man. Okay, this is the one at 20% that was against man. But it's a great way, we can see here, of motioning into it to get a little bit of a head start, because against man free, right, in any sort of flood, there's going to be one route open. Okay, it's going to be the crosser. So the crosser has to win. If you don't get the crosser to win, there's going to be nowhere for this ball to go, especially if you lock the post. If you have a storm route down here by the single, right, and I think Spavital has a clinic somewhere out there. They ended up stealing the storm route where he talks about it a little bit more in depth. We'll create another video because that was our number one deep ball at UNC and Ole Miss. But just an indication, it gets basic cover one. Quarterback still looking high-low, but we understand that middle of the field safety is going to take the post away. This ball is going crosser down to the flat, and I think they end up losing the flat and protection here. So another video, I'll talk about protections, right, how important those are to get the flat component out against zone. Against man, it doesn't particularly matter. But once again, these guys did a great study. They led the country in yards per pass, I believe, or they're up there very high. This isn't a protection video, so I'm going to go on. All right, so we have all sorts of older video, newer video, all kinds of stuff here. Once again, if we're in bunch, okay, just a different way. If you want a fake duo, you're going to lose your RB in protection, right? So I have to create that flat component in zone with the third receiver, the other receiver. Okay, you see him now running a shallow. If you're a bunch duo team, it's a good way to run it. Okay, but same thing, right? There's going to be one place for this ball to go against man coverage. End up getting the corner trigger, okay, and then we get the crosser winning. Cover three, right? We get into the zones. These are now all premier plays. Can we see why, right? We still have our flat component here. We see the crosser screaming wide open. I really like this crosser. We're telling him stem to the middle of the field at 12 yards. At 12 yards, run out of bounds at 25 yards. We have the single receiver not running a post here. He's running a pylon route, which I will get into of when you want that. Different protection here, okay? They ran this protection. Once again, this is not a protection clinic, but if there's a really good pass rusher, they're taking a shot. Like here's Max Crosby. I saw them do this against, I'm getting distracted here as I always do, but they ran this against Micah Parsons too. So pretend there's not an edge pressure coming here. They're gonna have the running back come cut the D end, and you're getting a hinge seal. I'm sorry, wait, hinge seal, whatever that word is. A hinge, I guess. I don't know where the seal came from. You also will get a hinge on Max Crosby. Once again, there's pressure here, so the running back has to take the widest. But I probably shouldn't have gone to that. I'm just getting distracted now. But we see the whole post crosser concept against three. What we want. Now, why the ball doesn't go there, I'll never know. Same thing. We motion in. Okay, we have clear zone. We love it against zone. Run it against zone. We're going high to crosser. It's a flat component. Okay, we see the crosser here is really, really low. You don't want that. You have bad spacing. Okay, in any sort of high-low concepts, you want at least a 20-yard gap is my rule. Right, so we want the crosser to be way, way higher. Now he has to duck underneath, right, all the trash initially, but we would like him to climb to 25 yards. Okay, but I'm seeing here on my computer, I'm not Cooper Kupp, so who knows better, but 25 yards out of bounds is the aiming point. Just another variation of running it from bunch. Okay, so the first one they're faking duo, right? So they're losing the back in protection. So they had the Z or the field number one come create the shallow. Here they're gonna get their RB out in protection to create the flat component. So they have the Z on an extra seal blocker for extra protection. So two different ways of running this concept from bunch. Now, when you notice, this is just a hellacious throw, okay? But even Ole Miss, they're really, really good at seeing the safety come cut the crosser and throwing the poster over top of that. That's something I was never great at teaching, and our Qs were never good at doing. But I would like to learn more about how they're seeing it, right? But like this is freaking incredible to see a post safety and know you can beat him over the top. Like, to me, that one's dead, right? The ball would have to come down to the shallow aspect. This is just, once again, a 60-yard throw on a freaking dime. But Ole Miss has a ton of these clips, right, where the safety drives the crosser, right? The crosser gets jammed up here, but the safety drives the crosser, and they end up hitting the post right behind it. Actually, a really good job by a 3-up player, roboting and finding the crosser. Okay, but you end up coming down to the flat if you didn't have a superhuman quarterback. Post, we'd always tell them, if we did lock the post on, we're breaking at 12 yards. We're expecting the ball 40 yards on the hash. Do not cross the hash. I'm going to get into a little bit of why I prefer the flood to stay on the same side and not run post crosser if you can, for this exact reason. In cover 3, there is a way that can cover this play being post crosser, and that's by the 3-up player taking it back across like we see here. If this route was on the same side, so think twins up top, you would have a big gain, right? Because they can't cover that. But as soon as you start going post with the crosser coming to it, now the 3-up player is able to take it. Okay, so just something to think of when you're game planning. To me, I would run twins flood as much as I could, right? I'm getting that a little bit later. And I'm only going to run post crosser when I'm killing I say killing an element, when I have like a jet or something where I can't have a twin side. But I do like the idea of creating a flat element with a receiver, because sometimes you lose the RB and protection, okay? And it's against zone, we obviously need that guy out there. So any sort of ways you can create the flat component with a receiver, I'm a fan of. You just gotta be careful in cover 3. Now this probably doesn't happen in high school, but in NFL you get some really good clips of the LB taking the crosser back across. Another cover 3 one here. I really like this one because this teaches, okay, when do you want to run the pylon route? So we're running post crosser up top to the right. We're saying that guy is however you teach it. We taught it as a storm. I would teach it as a storm. If you lock a post, you're good. Now, anytime you're in a tight split, the post automatically goes to a pylon route. So what's the pylon route? It's the same break point, but now I'm not running a post. I'm running to the pylon, the deep pylon on my side. Okay, so let's see if I can draw. New to quick cut, so give me a break here. So it'd be like that, right? So I'm running 12 yards and I'm breaking to the pylon, the deep pylon on my side. Because as soon as you start running a post, and we'll see that here, now they can pass that off, right? Because you're in tight. If you're in normal splits or wide splits, run the post, you're good. The corner will not be able to pass you off. As soon as you become tight, it automatically becomes a pylon route for this exact reason. And we'll have some really good examples coming up. Right, he passes that thing off, and he's there to smack the crosser. Okay, end up being a 20-yard gain, but if that thing was a pylon route, now imagine him, see how he nods it, imagine him just staying on that angle, right? So if the corner does want to come down and drive the crosser, now you have so much leverage on the free safety. All that leverage up here, this way, right? The lovely drawing. So all that to say, if you're in tight, run the pylon route, not a post. But you're still going to have the same exact things. We love against zone, we hate against man, right? Because you have your flat component and you have your deep high low. Once again, this is a brutal route against man. This is a great rep of it. I would not run this against man. I would kill it to something else. Check it, however you do it. Okay, we can see the pylon route once again winning. It's a hellacious route because you got to beat him twice against man, right? You got to beat him inside and then beat him back out. It's a great throw, great route, great catch. But we see how this whole thing plays out. Once again, they're fake and they run the other way, so you have to have a different eligible, create the flat. This is a good protection. I went over this protection a little bit in one of my other videos, K Bender. It's a great protection, right? To get that DN to squeeze down. And the tight end can now take him, and he's now going to run the flat. See it here, when tight splits, the post automatically converts to a pylon route, and we see why. Now you have your same, just see that beautiful spacing. That is freaking perfect spacing right there. This is what you want, okay? Good luck defending that in zones, right? Against man, easily defended. Zones, not so much. Great, look at that. Got one more pylon route up top. So what I really like about some of these crosser concepts, or floods, right? We'll see the floods here in a little bit, is you're able to have such a big strike point, right? I could hit this thing, which in college would be about a hash, all the way to the sideline. So here there's such a big gap. I know the ball goes up top. But you create a high-low of the flat defender. You also create a curl flat, okay, where I can hit this thing, and NFL is top of the numbers, and college would be like hash or divide. Right, there's such a big strike point in zone coverage of the crosser. It's really nice. So going into what I call flood, okay, and it's confusing. I would have to call it something else because it's under the umbrella of floods. But when I say a same side flood, I mean the crosser is not coming from obviously the other side, right? So we have the same storm or post. We have what we call a split route at UNC, and we taught it a couple different ways. But I would run it, if I'm an RPO team, I'd run it off a glance. So wherever you run your glance route, it would be 8 yards, sell the glance for 3 steps, and then same thing, we're running out of bounds at 25 yards, and then some sort of flat component with the RB or whatever. Backside, usually they have a dig bait combo for cover 2. Okay, I'm just running a stop because I'm not throwing the ball there, and I'm using that for a different check mechanism later. But it's the same thought process, okay? We like this against zone, against man, not so much. So the floods, what do we see? We see a higher yards, higher across the board, right? Higher efficiency, higher explosion, higher play score. I think that's purely because of that one clip I showed where the linebacker in cover 3 can take the crosser. Here you have leverage. That guy, you're already outside of him. So we can see where the ball goes, right? The ball is going to the split route, or it's going to the check down to the flat component most of the time. Okay, against one, this play is even going to be worse than the crosser, post-crosser concept, because that nickel guy in the slot here will have outside leverage, right? And post-crosser, you'll run away from him. And this play, flood, you're running right back into him. So this is a definitely check out against man, unless you have a guy at Z or you run the storm route where you like it. But against zones, it's premier. Okay, this is what we want against zones. Right, looking down here. One thing to say, if you're a tight end running this, don't run the glance component or don't do the fake crosser component. Since you're already tight, you can just run a normal corner. Okay, push vertical to 12 yards, run out of bounds at 25 yards. Okay, well, we see what we're creating. And I would use the same rule. Anytime you're tight split from the receiver, it's automatic pylon route. No more post, no more storm. It's automatic pylon to clear that corner out. And if that corner wants to fall off on the intermediate component of the play, you're running back over the top of him. Okay, so jets, all sorts of things, right? We're creating that same high-low 3-layer concept. Premier against all zones. Now, this is the one clip against man I had. You see here they're faking the crosser and running it. There's a couple different ways of running it. I'm running off a glance because that would be an RPO operation, so it makes more sense. This is why I don't like to play against man. As I say that, they get 55 yards. But that is a brutal route to win. Right? You have poor leverage. You get beat him inside and then beat him back out. Okay, if you have a guy you really like that route on, cool. I don't, right? If all is equal, if that receiver is as good as that nickel, this is a bad play to me. I would get out of it. If you have a guy that can just win that race, go ahead and run it. This play is much better against zone than man but I did want to show you a clip of a really good clip of it winning against man. And how much he sells it. I would sell eyes back to the middle of the field, 12 yards. If you're running the crosser, variation off this, like the fake crosser, which is the popular one. Once again, there's gonna be one place to put this ball. It's gonna be the immediate route. This is a great rep out top. Okay, same thing. We don't like the leverage. This is such a great route. I had to put it on here. If you did just call it and run it, and you got man free, this is kind of teach tape. Now he's shallow. Obviously, you want to run bounds at 25 yards to get that stretch, but against man, it's going to be shortened because the stretch does not matter as much, obviously, in man coverage. And they're coming backside with it. For whatever reason, usually they come back here only against cloud. Okay, but outside leverage, you like it, take it. We're going to jet, I believe. We're going to jet and get to it. Once again, you see the receiver here. If you're already tight, just run the corner. No reason to fake the crosser or fake a glance or whatever, however you're going to teach it. Just run the corner. We already have our leverage. Against cloud, it's okay. It's going to end up just being smash. Okay, so it's not like Premier, but we can live with it, and we just see the smash concept playing out between the slot and the running back, or the jet receiver. All right, we're looking deep ball. We don't like it, and we're looking intermediate route, running in bounds at 25 yards, and then flat component. So it ends up just being smash against cover 2. Cover 3 is Premier. Here's where you want it. And they have a bust. They're all kind of jacked up here, but we just kind of see what we're creating. All right, this is not groundbreaking stuff. I just want to show you different examples, different motions, different things, a way of getting to it. But it's the exact same thought process every time. Love this clip, right? Anytime you're tight, automatic pylon adjustment. He ends up not making it, right? But great route, run out of bounds at 25 yards from the corner, pylon. We're going the near pylon. Ends up just being the same 3-man flood. Receiver's really lazy on the jet motion. You want to stretch that thing all the way out to the bottom of the numbers to get maximum stretch on this thing. And this is how I feel about this play down here, right? If you're away from it, you can basically just smoke a cigarette. The ball's not going there because I'm not running this against man. I'm checking out of it. The ball is staying to the flood side. So if you have really bad players, put them down here and tell them to do cartwheels or something. Nickel does a good job getting depth here. You see just the high-low we create though. Cover 3, right? So cover 3, we love it. Cover 3, this is better because the linebacker can't pick you up coming from the opposite side. I'll bust through this. This is a good example of how big of a strike point it is, right? So this doesn't end up being like a true high-low, right? Where you're hitting this thing on the sidelines. It ends up just being a curl flat, like a quick low curl flat, right? Because a curl flat or a curl in the NFL is top of the numbers. You see, I mean, it's a perfect example right there of how big of a strike point this thing is. We can eliminate the deep route pretty quickly against single high. So if you're a jet team, it's a great jet component. Quads, unbalanced. This is how we ran it at UNC, and this is kind of half in, half out. This is kind of like a glance corner. It's also kind of like a fake crosser. I don't know which one it is, but we ran the fake crosser against UNC. It's just kind of difficult to teach, right? We'd sell the crosser up to 12 yards, show eyes back to the queue. Stick your foot in the ground, run out of bounds at 25 yards. You see the angle set pretty well here. And once again, if that thing's open, we don't have to put this thing 25 yards on the sideline. If it's open earlier, take it now. I do like this though, because they get the flat out all the way. It's difficult with the RB if you get play action for the RB to get all the way out there in zone to stretch them. Okay, so if you have a way to create it to the field with something else different eligible, I'll do that. To the boundary, he can get there. To the field, he probably can't in time to really get a good stretch. This guy's ran a 4.37 or something like that. Much faster than I thought he was going to be. Great example of the pylon. Okay, corner falls off. We're telling him stick your foot in it, I think we're out 12 yards and run to the deep pylon. See his bad angle. That's a great throw. That's a perfect throw. See, he's running to kind of like the, maybe like the goal line. I'm telling him to run to the back of the end zone pylon. There's probably a better way to verbalize that, okay? But run to the back of the end zone pylon, the deep pylon. For this reason, quarterback's expecting him there, and he ends up just a poor angle. But we see why we like those. Anytime you're in tight splits, okay, corner falls off, we're triggering it. That's a great example of why. You'll have leverage on the safety, right? Safety is, what are they in here? Either spin to single high. You have all that leverage to go win. Like what the boundaries here is doing. Great technique. He grades out as a 1 on the technique. Oh, I love this clip. I don't know if this is taught. If it is, good on Charlie Weiss Jr., or it's a great play by Dart. See a little pump fake here, just to bring the flat defender down just a tick. That is freaking awesome. That's like next level Q. Is to fake the flat throw, just to bring him down, and then whip that deep out. Once again, strike point. That's freaking awesome. I just had to show that. That makes me happy. Quads variation. Okay, third and long call. We're going to double chips. Take the steam off those big time rushers. This is T. Come on. 5, 10, 15, 20. Out of bounds 25 yards. Haha. Perfect. With flat component. Here is... It's actually a good two-man play, right? Because anytime you have an outbreaker against two-man, you like it. Looking up top, right? Because you'll have inside leverage. You're just going to win. What becomes a deep out against man, right? If you're matched, you're not going to run the corner route. You're going to flatten it off against man, right? Basic principles. I don't know why it doesn't work up there, but this is one of those rare, like, good passes against two-man plays, or five-man, as I call it. Stubby, so cover 7, stubby. You take your flat component, whoever your worst receiver is, put him at field number 1, and now run the same flood between 2 and 3. Right, see like the old school stubby beater, right? Nothing revolutionary here. Right, if it's any sort of man, I'm checking out of it, I'm killing it to something else to my man beater play. Okay, against any zone, we like this. I would probably keep the field number 1 here on like a hitch or something. I'm sorry. Because if it's zone, you want him staying there. You don't want him breaking back inside to the nickel. Right, so this is like one of those premier beater plays. 40 yards on the hash, and I don't think they end up making the play, which is a shame. Last flood. Okay, this would be another fake off jet. Okay, we get a fake block with the tight end or a fullback, whoever that guy is. You get a fake block and then run the rail. Okay, but the same idea is I'm clearing something out. We have a seam route on. Okay, but you can run the same post if you want. It's to be the same thing. You're clearing that thing out. You have an intermediate route and then you have a flat component. Okay, so it's the same thing. We love against zone, we hate against man. Okay, so it's the same exact thought process to me. Right, it's a good fullback lead play. Or fake and block on the force defender, whoever that is, and then everyone's go run the rail. I like the seam or post here, clearing everything out. End up not making the play here, but we see what we're trying to create. Okay, it's the exact same freaking thing we're doing. So if you're a big jet team, right, that guy's lead blocking, you're running flood, right, but you're just faking the lead block. I don't understand what they do on these posts up top. Okay, so they always do this. They run like the fake post and go, and the ball never goes there. So just run a post and make it easier on everybody. Don't teach a new route that's never gonna get it. I don't know why they're doing it. Okay, but you see the high-low. Up top once again, same thing. End up getting a sack here, but the ball should go down to the flat if you had time. Some better examples here. With a fullback insert type play, faking on the force defender, and we're just clearing everything out. Ends up being the exact same freaking thing. Fake on the force. So I would want to fake it more on, who's that, 36 outside the hash? Right, but it's fun to do all the different kind of ball handling in the backfield to get their eyes down. And they do this like, well, they used to do, they changed it. I think the Lions still do it, and they kind of screw themselves a couple times this year. I would not do this whole like out and up thing they're doing. I would just fake it on him and then get to that landmark right away. You can see it again from here. Because they end up faking it, and then they take so much time by running the fake, the out, and then the up. I would just fake it and wheel, which there'll be some good Cooper Cup ones coming up here soon of how I would teach it. This might be one of them. Yes. Right, so same thing. They go fake outside them to the slot. I think that's easier to teach. It happens faster. The nickel can't, or whoever you're faking on doesn't have time. One more time like that. I thought I had another one. No, I might have cut it off. I knew that thing was gonna go along. Yep. So that's floods, right? So just repeat the same thing for the 93rd time. Those are floods, right? Something deep, something around about 25 yards, and some sort of flat component. We like against zone. We don't like against man. And that's basically that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be pump out some more. I'm doing keepers and nakeds next.